Okay, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to the greatest show on earth. That is the AC Show. I am Chris, aka MrCarrellScience, and this
I
is the
am
companion.
Aaron, aka the Handy Outdoor Nerd. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today.
And today, there we go. Today, we have a special guest for the show. We're so excited to have him here. Be joining us in just a minute to talk about some really cool topics. Aaron, would you like to talk about what we have in store for them today?
Sure. So we are going to be talking about Lego. That is one of the hot topics right now. And their, how do I want to word this? Their way that they post things on Thingiverse that they are calling infringement on their patent and everything. So, well, copyright, I believe is what they're saying. So yeah, there's a whole bunch of stuff going on there. There is my mini factory. We're going to talk about them and their contest that they've got going on right now. Well, we got some cool prints that we're going to show up, and some technical stuff that's going to be coming on. Is pretty cool. You guys, I can't wait for you guys to see all this that's coming up. What else do we have, Chris?
Well, so like you're saying, we've got cool prints, which is going to be really cool. Our special guest even has a few cool prints that he wanted to show off. We've got the condenser, where we're going to go over some of the most talked about news stories in the 3D printing community this week. And then we are going to have some Q&A segments on this whole Lego My Mini Factory thing, and see what we think about it, what there is in store, and what the future of Lego may be because of it. So it should be pretty cool. So I guess without further ado, let me just introduce our special guest today, Mr. Joe Larson, aka the 3D printing professor. How you doing, Joe?
How you guys doing?
Good.
Aaron? Good to see you guys.
Good. Good to see you.
Yeah.
It's great to have you here, man. Really, really great. Thanks for being here, being able to meet with us. It's really an honor to have you on the show.
Yeah, we greatly appreciate it.
Not at all. Not at all. It's exciting to be here. Sorry, I'm going to be a little bit quiet because it's pumpkin time at my house. So
it is in my house too, but my kids, they pretty much sleep through anything, so I think I'm okay. Well, I guess we'll go ahead and start off the show by talking about some cool prints. So is there one of you that likes to go first? You want me to go first?
Let's let Joe go first. He's the guest.
I was going to say, you guys can go first. It's all right with me.
But you're the guest, so we'll give you the honors.
Well, so I've got a really cool failed print. I feel bad. If I'd have known ahead of time, I'd have brought my Knight Rider Pinewood Derby car that I brought to Earth.
There you go. That would be cool.
Because it's not only a really great print and it's beautiful. I spent a whole day wet sanding that thing just to be smooth as possible. But I also embedded a Arduino Nano in there and did one of my first major Nano projects. So it's got the Larson scanner up front, the sweeping light. And of course, for mine, I couldn't just blinky the LEDs on. I had to use the pulse width modulation so that they would fade to look like the old ones, and lines and lines of code to make that happen. So
yeah, I bet that was fun.
It was fun.
And, if you guys are on Twitter, make sure that you follow 3D Printing Professor. I know he's got a few pictures of it and some little short video clips so you can see exactly what he's talking about. That thing looks sweet, man.
It's funny because I was posting like throughout the entire thing, hey, I've got the lights working and everything, and nobody was excited about that until I put it inside the kit's body, and then all of a sudden they were like, ooh.
Yeah.
So let's see what else. I've also been working on, I don't know, let me see if I can switch my camera and how that's going to work with this triple view. Let's see.
Well, I can get, does that
there we
help?
go.
Oh, here, let me take that banner off.
So I've been working on this on Twitch, and there are two of them here because I have one for export. So we'll just hide that one for now. But on Twitch, it took me like a month to model this, but this was based on a challenge by Ali from Potent Printables.
Nice.
let me lighten up the background here real fast. There we go. And yeah, so I made the genie from Aladdin. It's all posed, and then my plan was to 3D print it on the DaVinci Color. But I did that today, and I had to stop it. But yeah, apparently my cyan and my black aren't coming through, and also for some reason it stretched it out in a weird way. So there's the way it's going to be. They're going to fit like this, and that'll be the genie, but I'm going to have to reprint it.
That looks good so far, though.
I've got one more for you guys, though.
Sure.
This was going to be my Earth giveaway, and we'll see if my camera will let me show this one to you guys. My green screen is catching the tie, but I took my 3D scanned head right here, and I printed it the right size with a little hole in the bottom that, you know, just by happenstance would fit on a minifig.
What a coincidence, right?
What a coincidence that I would put my head on their minifigs, you know. and I also, so it's funny, you can probably kind of see this in the camera, but you can clip this into the minifig, and it's a tie because I wear ties. And I actually thought that like Lego would have a tie for their minifigs, but no, they do not. I had to create this thing because they did not already create that. So
yeah, no, they don't.
Any minifig that has a tie, they paint the tie on.
Huh.
Yeah.
Well, they have capes and stuff like that. It's interesting they wouldn't have a tie.
Well, you can't paint a cape on there.
Yeah,
you know, you can't
unless it's like a short little cape. You can't really paint it on.
Mm-hmm. But if a person's wearing a tuxedo, it's just an overlay that goes over the plastic.
Yep. So I saw what program you used to model though, Joe. So
I've been using Blender for years. My background was actually, I was at one point in my life planning on being a computer animator for a living.
I was too.
Yeah, and then I realized that was a super competitive field, and I just not for me.
I know a guy that actually has worked in graphics design, so VFX, and he's done Life of Pi, Ninja Turtle movie stuff as well.
That Life of Pi was, there's a lot going on behind the scenes that's heartbreaking. Like,
oh yeah, oh my gosh,
that should not have taken a company and put it out of business. You know, it was winning awards while the company that made it went out of business. They were giving their speech and everything, and as they were giving their speech, everyone was losing their job. Yeah, amazing.
Well, the problem is, I mean, I even watched the documentary and all that, and I agree with this. The problem is, you get your higher ups here say, we want this, but then you got everyone else down below. You got to go through the chain of people instead of, hey, look, like, so let's go Star Wars. You had George Lucas. George Lucas was the overseer of the Star Wars movies. And so he had people doing drawings and stuff. He would come and look at them and be like, no, let's not do this one. Let's change this, change that. You had the higher up working on that. But whenever you got a million people and then you got to get down to the VFX artists, and then you're like, okay, well, they do this. And then it finally gets up to them. And they're like, no, this isn't what we wanted. We want this. And you got to do it over again. And
it becomes a really big game of telephone, and there's a delay. I mean, that's bureaucracy, and that's going to happen with everything. But there's also the fact that the contracts that the VFX industry negotiated for themselves were really bad. Mm-hmm. But this is becoming a downer. So let's you guys show that cool prints. Yeah.
Let's move on. You got something to show off there?
I will have to pull it up. You gotta give me a minute.
All right, I can go next while you're pulling something up if you want to.
Yeah.
So this week I printed a few things, but they're all at my classroom, and they're definitely not anything that was that cool. They kind of mostly failed. They were original designs, and unlike these guys, I did not have the ambition to be a graphic designer, and I am absolutely horrendous at modeling, which has kind of become a theme of this show. Is let's make Chris model something, and it just turns out really, really bad.
I think we'll do that next week.
Okay, well, next week we'll do something, and it'll just turn out awful. It'll be great.
I can't promise that I would be here, but it would be fun to do a model off where we both get the same, we all get the same challenge and we all work on it at the same time.
I think we should do that.
It would be awesome, wouldn't it?
Could do that. A few weeks ago, we did something similar to that where we made each other a maker coin.
Oh,
where we
yeah.
had to design a
Oh, that's
maker
right.
coin
You traded
for the
it.
other person. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the one that I
I
made
think
for
I saw
him,
Aaron's video on that.
he
You
looks
saw
like a big black
I
guy.
think I did, yeah.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
nice.
The one you made for me looks awesome.
So,
So anyways, I actually have my Alien 3D subscription box that came in a couple days ago. Look at that. Repping the swag there.
Josh is a good friend of mine, and actually, he made my website.
nice.
Oh, really? I actually have a little bit of a connection with him as well because he sponsored a project. He's my very first ever sponsored project. And I did finish it, but I need to make a video about it and make sure I let everybody know about the wonderful work that he does because he's just a super good guy, really, really good guy. But I wanted to kind of show off some of the things that come with it. So when you order the Alien 3D box, there's always some sort of project that comes with it. I don't know if you can really see any of that, but there's some LEDs in there, a little push button. The project this week, Joe, you want to tell them a little bit about it?
So it's actually neopixels. They're not so much LEDs, and they're arranged in a specific way that when you 3D print the holder that he has for it, you can put fiber optic cable on the tip of each one of those neopixels, and then wrap that fiber optic cable around a dagger blade that they have, which means because it's a neopixel array, you can control each one of them independently and have like lights dancing up and down the length of your blade being carried by the fiber optic cable that you've wrapped around it. Genius.
Yeah, I think every month I get these projects and I just say, man, that is such a genius idea. I would have never thought of that. It's amazing.
Yeah.
So the UFO box also comes with filament samples. So this month I got some sweet cloud gray. I got this red orange, which looks more orange than red to me,
It
but
looks orange to me.
I'll forgive them. I've got, this is actually a glow in the dark PLA, blue glow in the dark PLA.
Does that one, is it abrasive? I
Well,
always worry about glow in darks because supposedly the little crystals they have in there that glow in the dark are abrasive to brass nozzles.
Yeah.
most glow in the dark filaments that I know of are abrasive. So I'm assuming that it is abrasive.
But then again, if you ruin a brass nozzle, it's like what, 50 cents to replace?
Yeah, I order them in bulk on Amazon. I think I bought like 12 for like $5 last time or something crazy like that. And I also have a hardened steel nozzle if I really wanted to get crazy with it. I just can't print at higher temperatures with it because the hardened steel has a hard time getting to higher temperatures for some reason.
Interesting.
That was something we talked about in the past stream too. And then this is something that you've commented on before, Joe, and that is you get these filament subscription boxes and they send you a red PLA.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they have to do that. They have to do that because that's how they offset their cost. Is they'll say, "Hey, we're sending you 5 samples, and 2 of them are, just regular colors, and 1 or 2 are the cool, fun ones." Unfortunately, if you want to put together a box that is just the cool stuff, which I tried for a while, it's too expensive to maintain.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And then a couple more things. So one thing that he always sends in every filament box is candy, which is great for my wife because I'm diabetic and can't eat it. And then I think my
Hubba
favorite.
Bubba? I haven't had Hubba Bubba since I was like 14. I don't even know what Abba Zaba is. We got Hubba Bubba and Abba Zaba in
Oh
here.
yeah, see, and I was curious too because I got an Abba Zaba.
It sounds like a
no
Disney
idea.
song though. Hubba Bubba Abba Zaba.
Try to say that 5 times fast, huh?
I'm going to go for 2.
I think my favorite thing that came in this box is the Halloween costume. Did you get a Halloween costume in yours?
I don't know.
I got a Halloween costume in mine.
The NASA sticker?
Oh no. It is a Walter Beard.
Oh, yes, I got that.
From,
Put it on, Chris. Put it on.
3D. The Walter Beard is actually it's 3 cotton balls and a double stick tape.
Can I be honest? I mean, I love country, but I just threw away the cotton balls and kept the double stick tape for whatever else. I'm not gonna,
You know what?
stick that on my face.
I was trying to hang a light up above my computer so you could see my face better, and I was like, man, I need some double stick tape. And I looked for probably 30 minutes for a piece of double stick tape. I got it right here in this stinking bag. And then the other really cool thing I got was this. This is a nanopolymer adhesive.
Ooh.
For your build plate.
Right, for your build plate. And the way that it's designed is if what you're printing is below 300 degrees Celsius, which I mean I got
everything you print
so I'm not going over 250 really. Then when it cools down, it just releases from the print surface like instantly, which is super cool. I also got a NASA sticker, but I think that mine's cooler than yours.
Ooh, yours is cooler than mine.
Yeah, I love it. And then usually they send some brand stickers. So I got filamentcolors.xyz.
I got those too. Yep.
And then just some little cheap Walmart stickers as well.
So I mean, do people really get into the stickers? I thought about during Earth taking the logo that I had drawn up and making a sticker out of it, and then I thought, I mean, maybe I'm getting too old.
Well, I don't know. As far as this, like for me, I like the stickers, but not as a product. Like I'm not going to go out and be like, I've got to have a 3D printing nerd sticker or something. For me, it would be like if I met you somewhere and you gave me a sticker, kind of like you give me a maker coin or something somewhere.
Right. And that's the thing. I felt bad that at Earth those Lego heads were going to be my giveaway, and unfortunately I realized it too late, and production just didn't. I only went to Earth with like half a dozen of them. Gave one to Amy Double D because she's a huge fan of Legos. Did I say that wrong? Everybody gets on my case when I say Legos because they're like, the plural is Lego.
I say Legos all the time.
Yeah, Legos.
So
yeah, so that's, I mean, and I guess, I mean, I think I've showed this off, not on one of our live streams, but I made a video about Turnkarn's dragon that I printed. And this was printed with one of the filaments from the Alien UFO box, which is a red glitter. And it turned out fantastic on my, this is printed on a Monoprice Mini V1. I mean, just amazing print quality. I can hardly feel a layer line, and it prints it perfectly. Great.
Well, and that model is so beautifully detailed that it hides your layer lines and everything, and it just looks so good. I'm not trying to one up your print because your print's wonderful, but I actually had somebody at the makerspace who works for the library bring that model to me, and they were like, hey, we're going to be doing a dragon display, and you've got the Raise N2 Plus. Can you print this thing big? So I printed one that was about, I don't know, 3 feet tall.
Wow.
Not 3 feet. Sorry, that's 3 feet. So 2 feet, 2.5 feet. It was huge. I printed it hollow. It still took like 3 days to print.
Wow.
And somebody took it home and painted the eyes, brought it in for the thing for the library, and I haven't seen it since. So somebody's very happy to have that.
Yeah,
I bet.
It's a gorgeous, yeah, but it's a gorgeous model. The guy who made that model again?
Turnkarn.
Yeah,
okay, they did amazing job with it. I love that the name of that one is the dragon. Like nothing fancy, just the.
Yep.
And it deserves it.
It's awesome.
It does.
It's
fantastic.
one of my favorite models, and it's so easy to print. I get a little tiny bit of stringing like under the wing here.
The wing tips down just a little bit, and I didn't turn on supports on mine, and so there are tiny holes if you look at it from below. But
oh no, I've never used supports to print this model ever. I just get a little bit on the chin, and that's like the worst spot probably. But other than that, it's always turned out really, really nice.
Aaron, you were going to say something.
I have yet to print any dragons. I've got so many things I'm trying to get done. It's just like, well, okay, so I've had my ANET for almost 4 years. So in March, it'll be like 4 years that I've been 3D printing. And a few months ago, I picked up another printer. I picked it up off the Facebook Marketplace. I got it for $140. I got my Kitty Tech printer.
I don't know TV Tech.
Kitty Tech.
Oh,
QIDI. And it's another Chinese company. I hadn't heard of them before until I found this on the Facebook Marketplace.
How is it? I assume
it's got an enclosure to it, so it's got a sheet metal frame. Got handles. It's got an opening door on the front, and it's actually got magnetic sides that go on it, so I can print in ABS now. So, and I've printed in ABS. I have.
How do you like it?
I've not done super huge parts. I've done some decent sized parts.
You should print the dragon in ABS.
I probably will, because then I can acetone smooth it. But I have to get a review out on it still, because why not? I've not really seen a lot of videos on it. I've seen some. And
are they still selling?
Yeah.
Good on them.
Give me a second.
So one thing that I think is interesting about acetone smoothing is you still to this day get people who will be like, oh, can I acetone smooth PLA? And I'm like, wow, those of us who were in this hobby when printing ABS was the only way that we printed, and we never talked about ABS or PLA because PLA wasn't a thing. If you were 3D printing, you were 3D printing in ABS. So acetone smoothing your print came with no strings attached. And so consequently, we get this whole generation of people coming in who think that you can acetone smooth your print, and they don't realize that the cheese has moved. You know, they don't realize that PLA don't smooth with acetone. So.
No. Unless you get poly smooth, you cannot smooth PLA unless you sand it.
Well, and poly smooth is not PLA.
Yeah, and it's the only thing close to PLA that you can kind of do.
That's exactly true, Aaron. You can smooth PLA
with tetrafluorine.
Oh, really?
Well, what do you use?
3D glue.
Oh, well, the 3D glue is just painting the outside of it and adding a coating. You could do that with any two-part epoxy.
Isn't 3D glue isn't that a oh man.
Well, 3D glue is the stuff that you can glue your parts together, but you can also paint the outside of it and it'll smooth out those layer lines. But if you want to actually like dissolve the outside layers and have them be smoother, there is a chemical called tetrafluorine, which will smooth PLA. It's expensive. It's a controlled substance. It's hard to get, and you have to use a lot of it to get any result. So it's not quite like using acetone for ABS, but it exists. It's a thing. Yeah, acetone is cheap. You can get it at your local store, unless you live in California.
You can't get hardly anything there.
Yeah, that's right. Except for vape cigarettes. You know, you can get those all day in California.
Except vape cigarettes. One time I went to Disneyland last year, and as we were walking to Disneyland to go through the whatever that boulevard is before you get on the monorail going to Disneyland, and there was a sign that said,
Main Street USA. Took me a while. I got there.
I'm not thinking of Main Street USA. I'm thinking of
Oh, the one outside.
outside.
All the shops. I don't know.
Yeah, with all the stores and stuff. And there's a sign that says that like you're about to enter Disneyland, which contains chemicals known to the state of California that cause cancer. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Disneyland causes cancer now. I can't even believe this. As you're walking by the hotel, there's this sign that says, hey, be careful, you might get cancer at Disneyland.
That's why I go to Disney World.
I wonder what they're referring to, though. I don't know.
I mean, it could be anything, honestly.
It could be. I mean,
all right.
So
on
the one hand,
I got something. You can pull up my screen now.
Okay.
Okay. Let me know when it's up.
It's up.
All right. So this is the Kitty Tech.
I like the touchscreen on that.
It's really nice. So over here on the side, let me.
Now, when you turn it on, does it do the
Right
the MakerBot Diddy?
here.
Because I'm guessing that's a Mighty board in there.
I think it is a Mighty board, but it does the Kitty Tech. It pops up saying like Kitty Tech.
Yeah, but is there a song when you turn it on? Does it go do 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 do?
It does not do that.
Okay.
It does make a sound when it comes on, but it doesn't like play.
Okay, interesting.
What's really interesting, whenever it actually hits the end stops, it actually makes a beep every time it hits an end stop. So, yeah. It's got a 3-point level bed, and look at that aluminum plate.
Yeah. Well, especially for that
thick.
cantilever bed right there, they're doing that right.
Yeah. So it's a Core XY. The interesting thing, I mean, it's not a Bowden tube. It's called a filament guide tube, because it's actually wider. You can actually fit 3mm filament through that tube and have room to spare.
Is the motor driver on the head?
It is. It is direct drive.
Yeah. Okay.
This fan, I've actually replaced the fan. I 3D printed in ABS a new fan because it only blows.
You mean the fan shroud?
Well, yeah, the fan shroud. So I 3D printed a new fan shroud for it so I can cool my parts a lot better. Which actually, I got the things off Thingiverse, and I actually modified the parts to actually fit a little better to blow on my parts for it.
You know, there are so many 3D printed. This one looks like a great grandchild of the MakerBot replicator.
It does.
You know, but there are so many 3D printers out there. I wish I could keep track of them all. Seriously, this thing's only $300. What's its build volume?
150 by 150 by 150.
So it's tiny.
Yes, but they sell bigger ones, and it's
comparable to a FlashForge Creator Pro. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. It's pretty much like a FlashForge. So I mean, this is their line. So look, this is $1,000 for this one. But I mean, there's your build volume right there.
Yeah.
But this one does a full enclosure. You
know, and not to change the topic, but you know, this kind of proves MakerBot's point with going closed source. I mean, look at how many printers are taking their design and not even giving them lip service for it.
Yeah. Yep. No, I agree. Completely understand and agree.
Yeah.
So
at the same time, I wish they had stuck to their guns a little bit better, but not as much as Lulzbot stuck to their guns, because
yeah. All right, so here is my cool print. So this right here, everybody, is the world's biggest 3D printer right now.
This is not your cool print.
It's not mine. I'm at work, so I don't have any prints with me.
This is submission to the segment, I suppose you could say.
Yes.
Definitely a cool print, though.
Let's see. Oh, come on. I don't have... So this boat is fully 3D printed. I wish.
Did you see the video of it printing?
I did, actually.
They printed it at an angle. They didn't print it layer by layer. They printed it like they would on a conveyor system, but not on a conveyor system.
Yeah, like the White Knight.
Like the White Knight.
Yep.
But this isn't a tilted head or anything. They just did it that way.
Yeah, and and obviously it's so it's kind of like he met a 3D printer and this is their love child.
Well, I mean, to be fair, 3D
got,
printing is CNC, but yes.
It is. But you got your, right down here, you got your y-axis. And if you have a conveyor belt, that's all you need is your y-axis there. So all it did was just move that way, and then it just can go up.
Well, I think the reason they printed it like that is because their y-axis is probably their slowest movement. They were able to move up and down and left and right way faster. And so for the economy of time, it was better for them to keep the Y moving more or less in one. I mean, it had to move a little bit back and forth, but it was more or less moving in one direction. It was very cool.
That's awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I have long thought, hey, I recognize that picture. Oh, I need to change my handle. I'm no longer going to Earth. I'm back from Earth.
It's true.
Yeah.
All right, let's see if I can find the video on here.
Yeah, I've been wanting to figure out a way to do bigger and bigger prints. I think it would be way cool to get a golf cart, tear that thing apart, and then 3D print a shell to go over the golf cart. So you know, basically an electric go-kart, but not a go-kart. And I'd love to 3D print the Mach 5 and put it over there. I'd love to 3D print Kit and put it over there. I'd love, and have an interchangeable.
Oh yeah.
So you could do.
Did you guys see the father and son team that 3D printed a Lamborghini?
No. Why? Well, I'm curious.
So I think basically I think they took smaller 3D printers and 3D printed all these different pieces that they could then glue together and make their own Lamborghini frame that they put over the top of a cheaper car. I can look.
That makes me happy though.
For later.
I see it now. I've got it here. I'll check it out after the show. That makes me happy.
Okay, so yeah, so here is the boat itself.
It floats. It's watertight.
Yep, it floats. Come on. There we go.
There it is. Full screen that sucker.
Oh yeah, let me.
I don't have the sound on, but that's all right.
Come on, nobody watches the first 20 seconds anyways.
Skip forward. Come on.
So yeah, you can see it printing at that angle. Because it
So
just kind of does
the Y was jigging back and forth.
Yeah.
But just a little bit. And for the most part, it was moving in one direction.
Yeah. It only went backwards just to hit the other section of it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
I loved that there were people watching that every step of the way. Like that was not a fire and forget 3D printer.
Oh no.
Oh
no. That'd be an expensive failed print.
Mm-hmm.
So did they use did they have to have some sort of a big hopper filled with pellets
I think it was a hopper. I think it was a hopper filled with pellets is what it was.
Surely. Yeah, I can't see any other way that they would have done that.
Because I had seen, there we go. Here's a closer up image.
Man, you could do your laundry on those layers.
Oh yeah, that washboard it tear up your suspension.
And you can see it.
The other thing I want to do if I had a large format 3D printers, I would 3D print the Christmas tree that I'm putting to Children's Hospital this year. Which, if you guys are watching and haven't heard about that project, go check it out on my channel, and I'd love to have your ornaments on it. I should go check my mailbox.
I've already watched it.
Yeah, I'll try to put a link in the description of the video to 3D Printing Professor's channel. So if you're not subscribed to him and you're subscribed to us, something's wrong with you. Like, I don't know.
I say that
Yeah.
about a lot of people, but you know what? We all come to different places in different ways. I mean, I know that there are people who watch Tom and Joel who haven't even heard of me, and that's fine.
Oh yeah. I was telling some people that I had actually showed them one of your videos. I'm trying to remember which video it was that I showed them.
I feel
think
like
it
I
was
need
talking
to apologize.
I think it was the one of the Lego ones,
I've only had 2 of those so far, but there's more coming.
and they go, he sounds like a professor.
Yeah, I have a condescending way of talking, which is a fault, but you know, I work it for my benefit, I guess.
That's all right. Oh man, this is taking forever to load up these images. I'm just gonna.
That's all right. So University of Maine
but you can
created
see.
a really cool. It's so cool.
I mean, yeah, you could just see the layer lines there. So you know that was a big nozzle to where they were just pellet feeding it in. But
so there was a company at Earth, and I tweeted out a picture. They had 3D printed a drum, and I think they said they used a 5mm nozzle. And yeah, it was a hopper the whole way. You can't get filament at that time.
Oh no! All right, you can go ahead and close mine out, Chris. Don't want to trip everybody up.
So I couldn't help myself. I decided I needed to try the Abba Dabba. It's apparently got peanut butter running down the middle of it.
That sounds about right. Sounds about right.
Nice. Okay, so that brings us, I believe, to our next segment, which is the condenser. So we're going to talk about some of the big news stories in the 3D printing community this week. But first, I feel like we need to do one more little thing, and that is we need to introduce our buddy Joe and ask some questions to him to figure out who this guy is. We're going to call this segment the Hot Zone. So essentially, Aaron and I are going to rapid fire questions at him, and we're just going to kind of get to know him a little bit better and why. You guys will soon find out, hopefully, why we begged, pleaded, and asked for him to come and be on our show, because he's really
or you guys are going to very quickly realize you made a huge mistake. So there we go.
we had BV3D on last week, so
he's good. No, good. Yeah, I like them.
We goofed off a lot, actually.
It was quite a bit of fun.
So I think I actually watched that one because when you guys asked me to come on, I was like, well, I better watch one of their streams so I know what I'm in for. So.
And then you regretted that decision. Well, I'll go ahead and start. So my question is, how did you come up with the moniker 3D printing professor?
I was teaching college at the time.
What did you teach?
So I taught computer science and math while running the IT department at Stevens Henniger down here in southern Utah. And at the time, I was trying, I don't know, I've never really been big on building my brand or my channel or anything like that. I kind of put like the minimal effort into this whole thing. But you know, but I've been working on incremental improvements over time. And at one point I decided, you know, it's time that I choose a good brand. My original blog was called Joe's MakerBot because I was so excited about having a MakerBot 3D printer back when we didn't regret naming ourselves after MakerBot. And after that, I called it Joe's 3D Workbench, and it was all about the workbench and stuff like that. And then I moved, so I didn't have the workbench anymore. So I was like, well, I should do something else with my brand. And I was teaching college at the time, so I said, hey, you know, I have a right to call myself the 3D printing professor. I'm 3D printing. I'm a professor. I'm not teaching 3D printing, but who cares? It'll work. It's a brand.
Yeah.
I'm not teaching anymore, but there is no like regulatory committee on who gets to be called a professor. You could call yourself a professor, and nobody can tell you otherwise. That said, I try to make that title mean something. I try to make my videos educational. I try to make my videos dead boring. No, well, sometimes
they're not dead boring. They entertain me.
Well, but they're also not focused on entertainment. A lot of people, if you want to be super successful in YouTube, you have to have high energy and low value. You can't ask anything of your viewers, and I do. And I recognize that that's to my detriment on YouTube, but I don't want to sacrifice. I called myself the professor. I want that to mean something.
Yeah, you don't want to sacrifice who you are.
Basically.
This is who you are. Well,
yeah, it's true.
I completely understand. I mean, I will have kind of videos, but whenever I mess up, as I keep messing up, I go down. I'm not as spunky as I was when I started doing the video.
Yeah.
But that's the problem. You got to keep yourself going at that rate. And when it's just me doing it, if I had someone to shoot off of, like Chris and I do now and again, I can have kind of a hyped up personality because I'm able to keep going and just kind of shoot off somebody else. Like last week, we had BV3D on, and we all shot off of each other, and we were hyper the entire time.
Yeah. No, it's true. A lot of the good YouTube channels are a collaboration. You can tell there's somebody else running the camera. It's not just a stationary camera and a green screen.
Mine's just a stationary camera.
I can't afford the green screen.
Well, mine used to just be a stationary camera, and then GB Malls allowed me to. What I actually did though, I've just got. I'm going to stick my head in my microphone here. What I actually did is I just got some fabric and hung it up on some PVC piping back here. For a second, it looked like my hand was behind the computer. That is wild. And I got some little loop. I mean, this was all just a big sewing project here. I'm going to turn it off for a second so you guys can admire the work. There we go. Boom. This is what.
Wow. Yeah.
It's just fabric, and here, let's tilt the camera up so that you can see it.
Oh, I know so many people that would be freaking out from all the wrinkles.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, it's terrible. Well, that's why my face looks terrible, because I can only afford enough good lighting to either light the green screen more uniformly, and it's not even. Let's see if I can clear out some of those wrinkles. Oh man, why do you hate me so much? I don't hate you. I can either afford to light the green screen or light my face, and I'm choosing to light the green screen today.
Oh yeah.
So when I pull here, well, that's not too bad.
That's not bad. It's not too bad on lighting your face. But
so yeah, it's like I say, it's incremental changes. It's getting a little bit better at a time, and I've never made the huge investment. I've never made, but and so one of those small changes was coming up with a good brand. And now that I'm no longer teaching college, I'm still the 3D printing professor.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So I've got a 2-part question. First part is, what got you into 3D printing, and what got you into 3D modeling?
So it actually happened for me the other direction. I was going to, at one point I kind of wanted to get into, well, man, I wish I could remember why. I don't know. When I was in college, I got an old 3D animation program called True Space, and I had a good time with that. And I did some 3D modeling, and I did some 3D animation. And then at one point I was trying to pick a career path, and I said, if I get a good degree in computer animation, then I can use that to teach computer animation, because I wanted to be a teacher. I also was good at math. I was, intellectual. I was in analytical. That's the word that I was looking for. English was not my strong suit. So I was like, well, I could go the math or I could go the art route. And I thought that art would be easier. I was an idiot. And so after getting 3/4 of a degree at the Art Institute of Colorado and racking up more debt than I was comfortable with, and realizing that they were not as accredited as they promised, I bailed out and started teaching math and got my degree in teaching mathematics. So I still had this skill set of doing 3D modeling and 3D animation. And then I heard about the RepRap project, and this was, boy, hold on for a second. I can track my interest in 3D printing by going to my Thingiverse page and going back to my oldest things. So let's go back to the beginning of my Thingiverse page, and I need to migrate this all over to My Mini Factory because those guys are great.
I have to say, I'm kind of sad that you took down Star Fox.
I didn't. Lego did.
Well, I'm just saying. I was like, Star Fox?
Yeah. Well, I have a plan for that, and let's talk about.
Oh, we'll talk about that a little bit later.
Yeah,
for sure.
We'll definitely talk about that a little bit later because I do have a plan for that. So going back here, let me swap my screen here. Here we go. Hey guys. So these are my oldest Thingiverse things, and the first one that I published was in 2011. So there you go. In 2011, I heard about the RepRap project, and I said, "Well, I've got 3D modeling skills." And at the time, everybody was like $800, and you could have all the parts to build a 3D printer. It was not going to be $800, and it was going to be like 3 weeks of your time putting this darn thing together. The first run RepRaps were, I was not ready for it, so I'm really glad that I didn't get into it. But I started modeling for it, and this one that you see, right here. I was playing a lot of Chinese chess game. And Chinese chess pieces are just kind of like little checker pieces, but they have a Chinese symbol written on them or carved out of them more often.
Oh yeah.
And I said, well, let's change that out, and we'll do icons on there, similar to what you would expect in normal chess. So I switched it out for. Can we go bigger? Fantastic.
Awesome.
The elephant is actually an elephant. The knight's a horse. That's the general's hat and things like that. So I made this Chinese chess set, and a guy in out east, Maryland, Massachusetts, I'm not sure where, something with an M, said, "Dude, I love Chinese chess. I'm going to print this thing for you." And I was like, "Well, could you print one for me, please?" And so he 3D printed me one and sent it to me. And the moment I held that in my hand, so like I knew every inch of this design because I had made it, but a machine made it real. Yeah, I was sunk. I was done. But I didn't get a 3D printer, so all of these models were made before I even had a 3D printer. I told you a little bit off camera about the recorder project. There's the first iteration of a recorder. It looks good, but it doesn't play. Somebody else helped me iterate the design, and they would print it and try it out. So for a little while, that was my obsession until we got here to the final version that looks good and prints good and sounds good. And it's a 3D printed musical instrument right there.
Yeah, I tried printing it. It was a little tight.
Yes, the fittings on it are very tight. And it was done in Blender. This was also done in Blender. But yeah, you have to sand the fittings on. But then once I did that, I was like, hey, look at this. I can take the Empire State Building and I can just cut the windway out of that. And I made a couple of different recorders that were different things. And then, man, how far do I have to go here before I get a 3D printer? Nope, still didn't have a 3D printer. Just doing renders. Look at this. Look at this. I took a scan of Brie Pettis's head and made it into a minifig head. Like that idea that I did with mine, I did with Brie Pettis way back in the day. And it's still up. Lego hasn't taken it down. I don't know what the deal is. Let's see what else we got. There's my cute little Cthulhu. You'll see that popping up everywhere. So at this point, I'm entering contests. there were a bunch of contests, and if you won, you got a 3D printer. And so those were entered into one, and I didn't win. This was entered into one, and I didn't win. It's a ring that you can put on your hand that puts eyeballs on your fist, so you can do that, talking with your hand thing. Let's see. This was make an iPhone holder, and I did a couple of those, and that didn't win. Let's see. Let's keep going. So let's see. Yeah, that was that iPhone holder, and then there was the chess set. The design a chess set in Tinkercad, and that was the only thing. Design a chess set in Tinkercad. There were lots of people designing really cool chess sets in Tinkercad, and mine snapped together and Voltron together to be a giant robot.
That's awesome.
And that won me my first 3D printer.
There you go.
So I think
I printed that, and I was having trouble trying to figure out how it fits together to make the robot.
Well, so in some of the later, so when I did this one, the biggest problem was getting the pawn to pawn mate together, because we needed base to base to mate together, but it also needed to be printable. And the one that won the contest didn't actually work. But after that, I've iterated it. So if you get version 2X, this one actually works if you can get it right. But wait, no, this one doesn't. Let me see. One of these has instructions, I promise. This one has instructions. Chessbot Hero. Let's see. There it is. That is how you assemble it.
Awesome.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, you put the legs pawn to pawn, pawn to pawn, pawn to bishop, pawn to the knights on the shoulders, and then those slide into the knot. The king and the queen slap together, and boom.
That's pretty cool.
So there you go.
What was the first 3D printer you got then?
MakerBot Replicator 1, and I need to do some repairs on that printer. Let's switch my camera back over. I need to do some repairs on that printer, but it still prints. I'm still using it. It's an amazing workhorse machine.
Nice.
So, you got one next?
Chris kind of disappeared.
Is Chris gone? It's just you and me, Aaron?
I guess so.
Okay, thank goodness. That dude, man, I swear.
So I don't know if you had to run and do something real quick.
Okay. So yeah, so I got the MakerBot Replicator 1, and it was an ABS only machine. That was back when we were printing only in ABS. And in order to get it to print PLA, I had to jerry rig it with a huge fan that I drilled holes in the case, because it was a wooden case. I drilled holes into the case that I could mount screws onto so I could blow air on my prints, and all of a sudden I could print PLA. And once I did that, once I started printing PLA, I was like, oh, PLA is nice.
Oh yeah, it prints easier. That's the one nice thing about PLA. It does print easier.
I had no idea that I was struggling before that point,
Oh yeah. So as I was saying earlier, I mean, I've had my ANET A8 for almost 4 years now.
Mm-hmm. And it hasn't burned your house down yet.
No. See, but I'm a smart person, and I watched a bunch of videos, and I looked up, and that's just what I do. I mean, whenever I want to research something, I research it and look it up and look it up and look it up.
Yeah, credit to ANET. They've heard people, and their new printers are trying to fix that. I'm a little bit upset that they haven't taken the old ones back and updated the firmware. It's just a firmware update. It's just software. Just fix it,
Or just send everybody a new board with a firmware update.
How expensive would that be? Nothing.
$40 for a new board.
Yeah.
So Chris is back.
Hey, Chris, where'd you go? We missed you terribly. We didn't say anything bad about you while you were gone.
I sent you guys a private chat.
Okay.
Okay, so cool.
So,
Chris, have you got a question?
go ahead, Chris.
Well, I guess the only other thing that I would ask is what did you do with the low poly dynos Kickstarter project. What like after that was all said and done, I got a few updates with some plans that you had, but I haven't seen what it is exactly you did with all that when it was done.
With the money for it?
Yeah.
Okay, so as far as the entire shed reconstruction that I wanted to do, that I once I had the money in hand, I was like, cool, I can start looking into this. And it turns out it was more expensive than I had initially thought. So instead, I used that money to buy a high resolution camera, better mic equipment, and just major behind the camera upgrades to my existing setup. And there's been a lot of me trying something, getting something that was recommended, trying it out, and realizing that there's a better solution somewhere else. And I did the same thing with Chibi Moles when that came out. I took that money towards upgrading my video, and I mean it paid for the green screen, but it also paid for the mic upgrade that is producing. Quite frankly, I'm super impressed with the sound that it's producing. It's really good. Also, some portable mics and some portable mic setups that you'll get to see on my Earth videos and stuff like that. So it's gone toward it's instead of going towards one big upgrade that would have been marred by bad video and sound. It's gone to a lot of smaller upgrades to make the video and sound better. And I'm still working on that shed. I'm still making upgrades to it. And it will one day be the new home for my channel. But that's been pushed down. Basically, I need to get my father-in-law to agree to come down here and spend some time helping me build the dang thing.
Awesome.
But I did. Hold on for a second. We're gonna swivel the. Can I swivel the camera without breaking it? I did get the disco ball.
Oh yeah. Well, that was the number one thing that I was
mandatory. So.
All right. So, question for you: since how many printers do you have so far right now, Joe?
I mean, well, I've got the so I've got the I still got the Replicator 1. I'm using that one quite a lot. I've got a Monoprice Voxel. Are we only talking the active ones, or are we talking the ones that are dead and basically being used for parts?
It does not matter.
So I've got the Degama Neva that my kids are using. I'm playing with a toy box printer, but I can't. Okay, so those are the ones that work. I'm playing with a toy box printer.
Did Toy Box send you one, or did you buy it?
Yep, they did. They did. And unfortunately, my home Wi-Fi router won't connect to it. It requires Wi-Fi, and my Wi-Fi is not beefy enough for it. So I want to upgrade my Wi-Fi, but I went to Earth instead.
They wanted me to pay to have them send me one. And it was only like $20-$40 discount.
Ooh, boy. Yeah, no.
I was like, I understand. I'm not a big channel, but
yeah,
I can't do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and I wish that I could tell you about it, but I can't get the dang thing to run.
Yeah.
So let's see. I've got a ANET A8, but it's just gathering dust. I've probably got 7 or 8 of them, but I keep giving them away as well. My CR10 is about to go to a new home.
Okay.
CR10S.
So you've had a variety of printers. So with that, with people starting out with 3D printing, what would you recommend their first printer be?
Okay, so very difficult question to answer because it very much depends on you. Like, are you the sort of person who wants to enjoy the electronics of a 3D printer, or are you the sort of person who wants to get down to 3D printing? As of 2 weeks ago, my recommendation would be either, if you want to spend a lot of money but have a solid machine and know how it works, get yourself a Prusa. I don't even own a Prusa, and I would recommend it. But if you want to just get down to 3D printing and want to pull a thing out of the box and start printing with it, get a Monoprice Voxel / Flash Forge Adventure 3.
Well, you can also get a Prusa that's already put together too.
Yeah. You could spend a lot more money and get a Prusa that's already put together. But with the announcement of the Prusa Mini, that answer might change in a few months.
Because it's like 30 minutes to put it together, is what he said.
Yeah, it's 3 parts. It's real easy to assemble, put it together, and it's a Prusa, so it's going to be high quality. You're going to have a good company behind you, backing you up on it. I mean, the Monoprice Voxel will print ABS. It's got an enclosure. It's easier to swap out, but it's not open source. So it's kind of between. The Monoprice Voxel is still one of my personal. I use it all the time. And so I really do recommend it. I like it. I just, with the Prusa Mini coming out, it could change the game.
Okay.
Personally, I have a lot of students that ask me, what kind of a printer they should get, and it's hard to describe what a kid-friendly 3D printer would look like, I guess. But one that I have that I stand by as a good solid choice is the Monoprice Select Mini, because it comes fully assembled. Everything is ready to go, and as long as you have some common sense, like don't touch that really hot thing, it works as well as any other printer I've ever seen. It's a small build plate, but it's small, able to be put on a desktop. I know that a lot of other printers are called desktop 3D printers, but let's be honest, you're not going to take.
And it's solid. It prints accurately. You can pick it up and jostle it, and it doesn't disturb the dang thing because it's solid metal construction. Here is why that printer is not on my list. I have run through a lot of those printers. I bought 3 of them to teach 3D printing over a summer one time and used the heck out of them. I've gotten other ones from Monoprice. I bought 4 more for the Makerspace, and of all of those, 8 of them that I have used, 2 are still running. They have a lifespan on them, and they're all dying now. So, yeah, they were great printers while they lasted, but then they stopped lasting, and for some reason I can't repair them. I can't swap parts and get a good printer out of them anymore.
Yeah,
but that's the thing though, is you can buy a Monoprice Mini V1 from Monoprice for $120.
But I wouldn't buy the V1. I would buy minimum V2. Or I want to try the Delta. I would try the Delta.
That's what I have, is the V1, and it's lasted quite a while. And the reason why I say that is because $120, you're not going to get something that's going to last forever. But if you're learning how to 3D print and you're learning how do you change nozzles, how does
and you don't need to learn those things at first, because it will print right out of the box and you'll have good experiences, and then things will start failing a little bit at a time and you'll gain that little bit of experience. Mm-hmm. As long as you recognize that this printer is not a lifelong solution for you, right. I agree. I would recommend that printer.
And then once you've had it for 2 years or so, and it does,
and then the whole thing just explodes.
Right. Once you dig the shrapnel out of your eye, then then you can go and save up your money for something. Because most people can save up $120 in a relatively short amount of time.
Yes.
And then you can start saving up for your next printer. That would be something that's a little more complex, something that's got touch sensors and
if you're really clever, you can use your 3D printer to make that money,
Yep. But that's one thing I like about my Kitty Tech, is it's got the touch screen right there. Mm-hmm. The card loads in on the side. I do not like the power switches all the way in the back. Mm-hmm. You have to reach over the power cord to switch it.
Oh.
Yeah, and I tried actually to flip it, but how it's actually set in there, you can't. I'd have to cut stuff and modify it so it would set properly how I'd want it. But it's got 3-point leveling system to where you just press the button and it moves to that spot, and all you got to do is adjust it with the little plastic thing to level it that it's sent it with.
If we're talking about which printers have the best leveling system, I do like the ones that move it for you.
Yep.
The one that I really, really like, though, there is a printer out there it's another one on my list, the WeDo F192. And they have holes in the build plate so that their dual nozzles can drop below the build plate so that their touch sensor can. What are you doing with your head, Chris? I'm distracted.
Sorry, no, I've got a kink in my neck. It's kind of a tick, I guess.
Oh, fair enough. Fair enough. No problem. So it actively turns on that sensor. Okay. And you twist the knob, and when you get it in the right place, it screams at you. So you let your hand go, and it goes to the next spot. It's actively watching you and telling you, yes, now it is perfect. Let's do the next one. I love that so much. So that one's my favorite, but the other ones that that move it and let you adjust it the way that Ultimaker does it, the way that I think Prusa or Marlin 2.0 does that as well. I love that. I love that a lot.
Well, I think we usually try and keep our streams about an hour, and it's already gone over that, but we still got a little bit of
okay, so let's run through it real fast. Lego sucks, and subscribe to my channel. Okay, let's go.
So let's go ahead and move on to the next section. We're gonna talk about the condenser. Now, those of you that have followed the show for a long time now, I mean, this has got to be like the 6th week we've done this. So obviously,
it is the 6th week.
This is we've been doing this a long time, so we're now experts. The condenser is basically where we take the most popular 3D printing stories of this last week, and we just kind of talk about them. We talked a little bit about the Prusa Mini, but we're going to talk about a few more things right now. So first of all, how could we not start off 3D printing news without talking about the International Space Station getting 3D printed steak, people?
Okay, I'm upset by this because when is this going to come to Earth? Okay, I want 3D printed steak in my mouth.
So it's actually here. It's just stupid expensive.
It's not here. We're right here.
Got to go to California, apparently.
Oh yeah, I bet
then it'll give you cancer.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but still.
So I was reading up on this. It's very similar to the 3D printed steaks that we talked about on our show, I think 2 weeks ago. Basically, it's plant material, plant proteins that they've put together to make a fake steak that can be 3D printed on the International Space Station as part of their diet.
I'm down.
I mean, anything that'll get those guys something a little tastier than toothpaste food, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, it kind of looks like, well, what it looks like, it's not good, but that's meat. So what do you want?
What it looks like is not good. That I'm gonna make sure that
it looks like a different sort of extrusion, if you get my meaning.
I gotcha.
I'm saying it's poop.
We did talk about the Prusa Mini. This is what it looks like for those of you that are wondering. It's actually got a pretty small footprint for what it is. I mean, we're talking about something that just barely came out days ago. So as far as what the quality is like, things like that, I don't know that really any of us can comment on that.
It's okay. So you can tell looking at this thing. Sorry, I'll point that direction. You can tell looking at this thing that the x or the y-axis is kind of suspended and floating in midair, and so it doesn't get some wiggle. Well, but then they moved it to be a Bowden drive system, so there's not much weight on the end of that, and those are very solid rods. I got to see this at Earth, and again, it's a Prusa, so you know that it's going to be well engineered. You know that it's going to be well supported, and you know that the print quality is going to be amazing. So I've got every confidence in this machine being amazing.
Well, and the one thing I like, so they've got your 2020 extrusion on it. Go ahead.
No, my question about this is, where does the filament load from? Is there something that hangs on this, or is there a
Oh,
separate stand on the side, or?
I don't remember. I don't remember seeing that.
That motor right up there on the orange, I think, is the drive for the
That's the
filament.
drive. But is there some sort of a attached hook or something that holds the spool of
I
filament?
don't think so. I think you need to have the spool sitting out on the side of that, which admittedly, that's less nice.
Well, because when you talk about this wonderful form factor, look at how much space it takes up on your countertop. But then you've got to add the filament spool on the side, which takes up an extra bit of space. But
yeah, but
I do like the build volume.
Yeah,
I really like the 180 by 180 by 180. That's basically almost as big as that's basically the size of a ANET, or even even the
Ultimaker 2 about that. Yeah, no, maybe not quite as much.
ANET's 220 by 240.
Yeah, so it's smaller than that, but it's not quite as small as the Monoprice Mini that we were talking about earlier.
Yeah, and it's got a removable flex plate too.
Yeah.
And I bought a CTC rep wrap. That was just like a generic Chinese thing that nobody's ever heard of, and it had a 180 by 180 by 180, and it looked like a Prusa. It's really, really similar. So I'm excited for this. Hey, if anybody's watching that wants to send me a free one,
I'll take one too. So will Joe.
Send me a private message.
Just send all three of us one.
I'll tell you what. Here's my pitch. If Joseph is listening, which he's not, but if he's listening, we make a new TV show where we hand 3 or 8 or however many we want kids Prusa minis, and they have to build it and then go through a series of 3D printing challenges. We'll call it the Great American 3D Print Off.
That'd be cool.
Ooh, I love it. Hey, I work at a school. I could source some kids. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I work at a television station.
So you could advertise it.
No, he could produce it. What are you talking about?
Oh, hey,
I could do the kick and
Joe can host it because he wears a tie.
That's right.
Yes.
And I've got that beautiful dulcet baritone.
I love it. I love it. Let's see. I don't know that we want to talk about this story here.
Oh, moving on.
What do you guys think of the power brick instead of the power cable on the Mini?
I don't love it.
I was looking at it wondering. I was like, I don't see a power supply. Does this have a brick? And
yeah.
I saw it had a brick.
It has a brick. And I don't love it, but at the same time, my computer's got a brick, so what am I complaining about?
I don't know that I mind too much that it has a brick. What bothers me more is the power cords that have the brick attached to the plug, like right there. So when it plugs in, it takes up 17 outlet spaces on a power cord. Those are the worst. I don't mind too much as long as it only takes up one outlet. I'm good.
Yeah. So Teresa says it reminds her of a Cetus, and also she says she's a parent and she can provide a child.
As if they're a clever kid and can do stuff with 3D printing, we'll think of some challenges to put them through. We'll have them model stuff in Tinkercad or Fusion 360 or whatever they're comfortable with.
Teresa, man, and you're in Australia. We're in the United States. You got.
It could be international, man. We're not paying for it. Someone else is.
I'm down with the Great International 3D Print Off. We'll hold one in Singapore. We'll hold one in Australia. We'll hold one in all the places that I've ever wanted to go. We'll hold one there.
They can send us 3 all over.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh man, how do we trademark this? Hashtag patent pending.
Yeah, well. Okay, so what do we got? We got the bio printer.
Right. So we're working on the Lulzbot Bio. So this was something that Joel Telling, 3D Printing Nerd, did a video maybe a week ago or so that I thought was really interesting. It's where they take this 3D printer, but the extruder nozzle is actually a syringe,
Mm-hmm.
And they can extrude algal gels, they can extrude stem cells, they can extrude
They
collagen
could extrude chocolate.
into this ooze. And then what they do is they pour into it some sort of a catalyst that hardens it all at once. So you can 3D print living organs, essentially, is the eventual goal.
See,
they could,
that's the 3D printer that you get to make money on the black market selling kidneys.
well, it is open source.
Yeah, no, this is an exciting printer, and it's exciting that it's coming down to this level. I don't know what I would do with this printer, unless I could get it to print like meat. But I don't know what I would do with this printer, and it breaks my heart that the direction Lulzbot is going. Hopefully, somebody will buy this up and run with this, because this is the one technology I could see going places.
Let me give you an example of something I could maybe see this being used for that I think is pretty cool. Let's say somebody needs to get like a kidney transplant. And when they do a kidney transplant, my dad had a kidney transplant, so I can tell you from his experience, they don't take out a kidney and replace it with a new one. They add a third kidney.
Yes.
And so when
they
you
kind of splice it in there.
Right, they got to splice it in there. Can you imagine being able to take a technology like this, creating custom splices, like custom veins and arteries and things they could use to actually splice that in before they ever do the surgery? They create those, and then
I agree. I think for a lab environment, this is invaluable. And in fact, at this size and at this price, this makes your local, doctor's office in your local, wherever the heck you are, now a bio lab. That's exciting. But like I say, I don't see what I would do with it, but I could see your local office taking this and running with it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That and that's I think who it's maybe marketed towards. I think Aaron dropped out for a second.
We lost Aaron.
Yeah. Bye, buddy. So I really think that this is, hopefully you're right, this does get picked up by someone. So Tress is saying that it only makes tissues, not a whole living organ, and yeah, that's true for now. I think what they're hoping is that in the future they'd be able to actually print an entire organ. I know they mentioned in Joel's video that they were able to print like an ear, which is really cool. If you could actually print an ear that actually has the veins and things going through it, so it could be a functional product, I think that would be really cool.
Yeah. No, at the earliest, the simplest application of this is obviously going to be cosmetic or prosthetic. But taking it to the level where we can make biocompatible organs, or if not actual organs, a lattice work that we could spread stem cells on and train them to become the right organ and create that right organ. This has got potential. And I'm not the guy to make that potential happen, but put 10,000 of these out there, and we're gonna live to be infinity because of this.
I think where this technology is headed first is it's definitely going towards plastic surgery, cosmetic, like you were saying, like there's anywhere else.
I mean, for sure, that's the easiest application because there's no moving parts on a cosmetic surgery. But yeah, repairing blood vessels and stuff too. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, imagine if your bypass surgery included, biocompatible bypass. Like, so cool.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's just sad that on the heels of this, the people were joking around at Earth that Joel Telling made a video about Lulzbot's bioprinter, and then Lulzbot goes out of business. He made a video about the Nerf gun, and they're going out of business. Well, they're not so much going out of business, but Joel Telling is the business killer.
Well, remind me not to invite Joel on the show because we don't have much business as it is.
Well, it's not so much that he brings enough attention to a thing that it increases their infrastructure and can cause the tent to collapse under its own weight. I think that the Nerf people are still going to be in business. They just need to step back and stuff. Oh, here we go.
No, I was just pulling up while you were talking.
Yeah, let's dive into it. Let's go.
Yeah, so my mini factory has created a design competition. Yeah, it's called the OGEL, Beyond the Brick competition, where basically they are challenging people to design and create a new interlocking type building system, seemingly to maybe replace Lego. Is that what you guys kind of read into it?
I mean, I don't think that there was no, I didn't read it as we're going to make the Lego Corporation feel the fear of 3D printing. I believe it is exactly what it says it is. It's them poking fun at it, but at the same time, I don't know, giving people options. That's kind of why I'm getting into it. So I'm getting into it. Let me pull up the picture that I posted earlier today. I'm going to switch my camera so that you guys can see it. But I'm working on some Mega Block compatible bricks. Yeah, and I'm working on making them that will overcome the inaccuracies of 3D printing, that don't need to be as accurate as a Lego brick needs to be. That's my challenge. But I'm not doing this. Okay, should we get into it? Should we just dive into it?
Let's do it, Joe. This is what you're here for, man.
So yes, Lego took down a couple of my designs, but they didn't take down all of my designs. They took down a couple of other people's designs, but they didn't take down all of the designs. And I don't know what they want. I don't know what their end game is. I have heard, well, I have heard that there is an end game to this. And I've heard that we will find out what it is, and when we find out what it is, we'll go, okay, that's not so bad. I don't know what it could possibly be other than maybe Lego is embracing open source. I don't know. I don't know what it could possibly be that it would not be so bad. But there are people saying that they know what Lego's end game is and that they have an end game, but they're not communicating it to us. And so while they're not communicating it to us, all that they've managed to do is draw attention to the fact that we could 3D print Legos. We could 3D print, not necessarily Legos, but we could 3D print, but we could 3D print Mega Block compatible bricks, building bricks. And so that's what I'm playing with. I'm trying to make a minimum viable, but that's got flex so that it will work with a lot of different printers. I don't want people to hate Lego. I don't want people to boycott Lego. I don't want people to stand outside of toy stores and say Lego's a big fat jerk and written on a sign or something. Actually, if somebody wrote a sign that said Lego's a big fat jerk, I would totally retweet that. But but I don't want people to stop buying Legos or boycott Legos. But I do want people to. Yeah, absolutely. And my kids are growing. My kids have got so many Legos, mostly Minecraft.
I don't do Minecraft, so
yeah, I'm not asking people to hate Legos. All I'm asking people to do, what I really want is I want people to try 3D printing Mega Block compatible bricks, because in that effort, they're going to have to get better. Okay, have you guys ever tried printing a Mega Block compatible brick?
I have
No.
not yet.
Okay, try it.
I will try it. I will try it with my 0.2 millimeter nozzle to get that higher
Okay, good.
quality.
Yeah, and I'd like to see.
Here's a pop quiz for you. All right, so
I'm listening.
do you guys know what Lego brick was originally called back when it was created?
Well, when it was first created, it was created by a different company called Kid something.
Nope. That was a UK version of it.
Oh.
Yeah, the one you're talking about is Kidcraft.
Kidcraft. That's it. Yes.
Kittycraft. Yep. And they didn't have like really colorful things. But no, automatic building bricks.
That makes sense. Yeah.
He was an architect, built houses and stuff. And well, the Great Depression happened. Well, his business was going down, so he actually started with making wooden, like ironwood, and started making toys.
Right. Yeah,
which he was making the war going on, and the Great Depression and everything that happened. You really couldn't afford to do things with metal because metal was being used for the war.
Right.
And there was this so what he did was he ends out of wood. That's what he was doing, and it was I forget the name of the name it, but he wanted something different. So he took the word, and it's they're from Denmark, so it's Ligot is the word, and he took the first two letters from each of those words, which is actually it's called play well. That's like that's where you go. Yeah. He went into production in 1947. Is never.
Well, and at various times, Lego has been
blocks. They actually call it.
Yeah. At various times, Lego has been not as successful as it is now. They've gone through several periods where they've almost had to declare bankruptcy or worse, and they've managed to pull out of it with some very good and very creative. Licensing deals, I think, is what pulled them out of it, making Lego sets that were based on other things so that they had that tie-in. And now Star Wars was one of them, but now they've overshot that, and now they've become their own brand that everybody recognizes more than people recognize the brands that they were tying in. But no, they've had some very good and very savvy business decisions. And the thing is, honestly, for the most part, I'm gonna. Well, I was going to say, I'm going to go ahead and teach people how to make Legos. I'm going to teach people how to 3D print Legos, but it's not out of any sort of protest or anything like that. It's just because printing a Lego makes you a better 3D printer, and it makes you think about design, and it makes you think about tolerances. And if it weren't for the fact that Lego struck down a couple of my stuff at this time, I wouldn't have thought to do that. So, this isn't protest, but it's their fault. So, however you want to take that.
Yeah, so today I was watching a documentary series on Netflix, excuse me, that's called The Toys That Make Us. And they did an episode on Lego that there were a couple of things that kind of resonated with me as far as this topic goes. So I'm just going to kind of list out the things that I thought about while I was watching this today. Number one is the very beginning of the documentary shows a scene where they are taking these molds for Legos, dumping them into this big hole that they've dug, and filling it with concrete because they said they didn't want anybody to take their design. Another thing that I noticed is they mentioned that there's a culture within the Lego company among the executives or those that have worked for the company for a long period of time that feel that Lego should be the original and the only one. And they feel like people shouldn't be able to take Lego's idea because Lego should be the only one. And there's this culture that really has a dislike for those that try to copy Lego building.
Yeah. Which admittedly I can understand their position on that one, but there's a couple of fallacies attached to that position. First of all, they didn't make Legos. Their great forebearers made Legos. The people who made Legos, I'm pretty sure he's dead now, right now, isn't he? Who invented Legos? But they're trying to claim ownership of something that they didn't make. They're trying to claim control of something that isn't theirs in the first place. Now, corporate ownership, passing of okay,
Well,
I get it.
It's actually a family company. It's actually
okay. Well, and
the
admittedly that. Yeah, but they're trying to claim ownership for something their grandfather made, which is fine. It's good, but at some point you gotta stop living on grandpa's light. You know what I'm saying? And do something yourself. And that's the idea behind copyright expiring and patents expiring and things passing into the public domain. And so, yes, they don't like it. They don't have to like it, but they have to accept it,
Yeah. Then there was one more thing that I noticed in this documentary they mentioned, and that is about the Lego Mindstorms, the electronic robot brick.
Those are cool, and those are new as well, right? They've only been doing those for how long?
It started with Lego Technic, and then they came out with Lego Mindstorms NXT a few years ago.
90s.
But now they've come out with Mindstorms EV3 that have been out for a few years, and they're actually coming out with a new. I'm trying to remember what it's called. It's like called Pro or something like that. That they're creating a whole new system for it. I'm a robotics teacher, and that's what I teach is Lego EV3 Mindstorm robots.
Oh man, that ain't cheap.
Nope, it's not. They're about $500 a kit. So yeah, they're pretty pricey. But when they first released Mindstorms, they noticed that their target audience was for children, but they saw that more adults were purchasing them instead of children, and it was actually adults who were familiar with coding and programming and of the like. And what they were doing is they were changing the code within the robot and making them do incredible things that had never been thought of by their engineers. And their first reaction when they saw that was to sue them. Really. And so it took them a while before they finally accepted it and decided that they wanted to promote this creativity because that's really going back to their roots as this interlocking brick system. But that their first knee-jerk reaction was, oh, they can't do that. That's not what those robots were intended to do. They're changing the code. They're using different coding languages. We've got to sue them. And it's so silly to me to think that's kind of a Lego thing to do now.
From a legal standpoint, a quick search is showing that at least some element of Lego Mindstorm is like early 2000s. So these are new. This isn't something that was invented by their great grandfather or their grandfather or even it's a new idea. So if they come out and say, listen, we don't want people doing this, I would have to side with them in this case because the time has not yet passed and they have the right to have exclusive control over this. And so while it's jerky, and I agree that it's jerky, while I wish that they didn't do it, if I were to put up a Lego Mindstorms mod online and they insisted that I take it down, I would go with it. The reason why I'm not going with the Legos is because they've had their time. That is past. They don't have control over that anymore. We need to take control over that. And besides, I mean, as cool as Mindstorms is, I'm really having a good time with Arduino.
Lego Prime.
I bet.
That's what it's called. The new one that they're just about to release it. They were going to release it this year, but it wasn't ready yet, so they're coming out next year, I think. Lego Prime.
Lego Prime?
Yeah, that's going to replace
Nice.
the EV3 Mindstorms.
Ah, okay, all right. Okay.
So did you guys
Interesting.
know that in the 40s that Lego made pistols?
Pistols?
Oh, yeah, I saw that. Yeah, Lego actually, they made a gun.
But
I
let's
saw
not talk
that,
about
and
I'm
that.
Googling that.
Yeah, no, Joe, if you've got Netflix, you really need to watch the toys that made us, the Lego one, because there's a lot of information in there that it really sheds some light on kind of some of this whole problem.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know how much of that I really want to get into because, like I said, legally they have control over Mindstorms. Legally, they don't have control over, just plastic bricks. And my goal is just to, like I said, they made me pay attention to them at a time when I was thinking, well, how am I going to teach people how to make accurate prints? So I'm going to use Legos to do it, and it's their fault for doing that,
Yeah.
So I'm trying to see about the Lego gun. Yeah, a lot of people have made working Lego guns that shoots Lego.
Oh no, this obviously was not something like this was an actual pistol.
I mean, it was the 40s. In the 40s, everybody was rah America and military and stuff like that. So it doesn't surprise me. Doesn't surprise me.
But Lego is originally from Denmark.
Yes. Well, that's true. I don't know what the climate was in Denmark in the 40s. So who knows?
But the interesting thing is that they mentioned this a lot in that documentary, that one of Lego's big stances is they didn't want to associate their toy with war. They wanted to associate it with peace, because there was a huge uproar during the World War II that a lot of these toy manufacturers were coming out with plastic guns or plastic tanks or helicopters or whatever that were all about war and fighting, because that's what the boys thought were cool at the time. And they said, we don't want
People making tanks with our toy.
Okay, so I
wanna
found the Lego pistol, and it was a toy gun made by the Lego company, but it wasn't the Lego building bricks.
Yeah, it was.
Right.
Yeah, it looked like a gun.
Yeah, it was just a little pop gun that kids could play with, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
It was made by the Lego Corporation, but it wasn't made with Lego bricks. And I agree, Chris. I had the same idea. That's why I'm like totally okay with my kids getting Lego bricks, because it's a creative thing and it's working together and it's building together. I think that I love the Lego movies, and I thought that Lego Movie 2 was really, really good because
I've yet to see that.
it's worth it. Okay, a lot of people passed it over. Their marketing for it was terrible. Honestly, it was as good a Lego sequel as we could have hoped to get. Because how could you possibly do a sequel to the Lego Movie? The Lego Movie was amazing.
What a great movie!
Well, and not just that, but on a technical basis, like when you saw that water going, like, didn't your mind just blow a little bit, even though you knew it was on the computer?
Yeah,
It looked like stop motion.
It looked so good.
It looks
Oh yeah.
It looks so good. It's intended to look like stop motion. It looks so good.
Yeah, they did such an amazing job with it. So Lego Movie 1 was all about Legos are meant to be taken apart and put back together.
Yep.
Don't get upset when your kids break apart your Lego. That's what a Lego is for, is being creative and doing something outside of the box. Lego Movie 2 is all about playing together and about how Lego can bring us together. But at the same time, you know, the whole conflict, the whole meta conflict, which they lean into a lot in this movie, is about a brother and sister who don't want to play together.
Mhm.
You know, and so it was a great message, and I agree 100% that Lego is a toy of creating and playing together and peace and creating. And so I, in that way, I don't hold them any animosity if they want control over it. But if, you know, their lawyers need to back off and chill out a little bit, because they need to realize that we are their, you know, we can be their allies in this, not their enemies.
The amount of Legos that I could print with a spool, it's like it would be cheaper for me to just go buy some Legos. And
Yeah.
it would be a whole lot less work.
And
not to mention the time. Not to mention the time. I mean, unless you've got a white knight that can print the conveyor belt to just keep feeding them off
continuously.
I can see this being a problem in the future, because there are 3D printers that can automatically eject prints coming out. There is the white knight system. There may come a day when you hit go on your printer and come home at the end of the day and you've got 30 new Lego bricks ready to build a set. That might very well happen, and they're going to get more accurate and they're going to get faster, and Lego might have something seriously to worry about. And if they're doing a closed fist the whole time, they're just going to get white knuckles. They can't stop this. They need to open up to us and let us partner with them, not fight against them. Because I feel like in 5 or 10 years, if Lego's smart, you won't buy a box of Legos. You'll buy a 3D printer from them that can make Legos.
And I was thinking, you know, wouldn't it be cool if Lego sold files on their website? You know, this is a file to 3D print your Harry Potter minifig or something like that.
But again, I think you guys both need to try printing a Lego brick, right? Not right now. Go now. Go do it. Don't go to bed.
I can't. I gotta go. I would have to go home to do that.
But I'll do that, and I'll make a video about it. Even.
Yeah, print 2 or 3 Lego bricks, and here's what you do with them. Okay, you take those 2 Lego bricks and you try and fit them to each other. Then you take those 2 Lego bricks and you try and fit them to a real Lego, and then you try to fit the real Lego into them, and you check all those connections. And now it depends on your printer. If you have a Zortrax 3D printer, it will work. If you have a cheap Chinese 3D printer, you will discover some things about printing Legos, you know? So yeah, try it and get back to me on what you learned from doing that. But they do have to worry about the future. And in my opinion, they're going about it the wrong way. They really are. And I think that we can show them that we can be partners with them, because if they don't catch up with us, they're going to fall behind. And that's not Lego's way. Lego has never fallen behind. They have always been on the right cutting edge. And so I trust that they're going to get right on this one.
Yeah. Embrace the maker community.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
Because we are definitely a good ally. And if you piss a lot of us off, it's not good. I'm not saying that I'm going to go and like try to protest or just do some stupid crap. But there's other people out there that are going to scream and shout more about it than we are.
Well, here's what's going to happen. People are going to try printing Legos. They're going to fail. They're going to get good. They're going to print Legos. Then the printers are going to get better. And this is going to happen really fast if they fight us. So bring it on, y'all.
Just wanted to throw this in here real quick. This is
yes.
A while ago, Devin Montez from Make Anything channel came out with this idea called polypanels.
I love the polypanels.
Is these interlocking blocks that are triangular shaped, trapezoids, squares, octagons. I mean, tons and tons of stuff. And and he actually came out with a challenge for people to redesign his poly panels to do some incredible
which was
things.
super cool.
Oh my goodness.
yeah.
Some of the things that were made with these poly panels are just amazing. Just so cool.
Did somebody make Lego bricks out of poly panels?
What?
They're on the right.
Oh, I see. Oh, uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Yep.
We got an issue here.
Oh no, we don't.
Very cool. Oh, I love these polypanel art pieces. Look at that.
That's pretty cool.
Those are great.
I think the future's bright. I think that we got a lot of things to look forward to. We always have with 3D printing, and I think that this is a good opportunity for 3D printing to really start changing the world in a good way. Lego's not going to be able to stop this. All that they can do is get on or fall behind.
Yep.
One question for you guys, real quick, because we're way over our time.
We should stop.
Oh, yeah.
Go to bed.
So some of us old folks need to get to bed. I'm talking about myself here, but
Look at the gray up here. Come on.
So you guys had mentioned, Joe, you brought up the Lego movie. So I guess I gotta ask, have you seen Wreck-It Ralph?
Yes.
Have you seen Ralph Breaks the Internet?
Yes. Wasn't as good.
Wasn't as good. But here's the question. So Wreck-It Ralph, it's all about not going turbo, staying in your game. The bad guy reprograms the game so that he's able to actually be in that game forever, all kinds of stuff. And then Wreck-It Ralph 2 comes out, and the girl purposely goes to another game, reprograms the game so she can stay in there, and it's celebrated. And anybody have any thoughts on this? Because it seems like the second movie is basically taking all of the evil acts from the first movie and calling them wonderful.
The other thing that bothered me about the second movie was, Ralph goes to the dark net and he gets a virus and he releases it in her game, and then it gets into the internet and it starts copying and spreading Ralphs all over. And then they stopped the Ralphs, but they didn't stop the virus. It's still out there, like so many loose ends. I feel like Wreck-It Ralph 2 was so rushed that there was no thought that went into it. And it ended up being a series of showpieces that looked good in a trailer, but in the end, it lacked any cohesive message. It lacked any. It was a rush sequel job, and it's a shame because they could have done something good with it.
I agree. I thought it was an okay movie, but it was just okay. It really. I loved the first Wreck-It Ralph movie. When I watched King Candy go and put the Konami code into a regular NES controller to get it to change the code, oh my goodness. I said, this is the best movie in the world that I've ever seen.
I will say the thing in Wreck-It Ralph 2 where she's like, hey, do you think that M. Bison waxes? Because those tufts of hair on his leg, that's a choice. I was like, okay, that's funny. But after that like, watch the first 15 minutes of that movie and then stop. Just stop. They tried to make fun of internet memes. They tried to make fun of screaming goats. They tried to make fun of all those things. And they could have done something with that, and they didn't.
They could have.
Yeah. It was a rush sequel. They failed. They missed the opportunity to think ahead on it. Disappointed, but not surprised.
Yeah.
Oh, and the Disney princesses. Oh my gosh, that was so bad. Like, why did they do that?
Oh, I can tell you why, but I don't know if you'd like my my analysis.
Well, because what's your analysis?
Disney has become very woke.
Well, they want to be woke.
Yeah, I don't know if you're familiar with that, but they're very girl power right now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so a lot of movies they've come out with have to have that strong female lead, which there's nothing against having a strong female lead, but the way that they're doing it, they're almost shoving it down your throat. You know, all guys are the worst, and girls are the best.
Yeah, yeah.
And the princesses thing, I think, was just part of that. We've got to show more strong females because.
No, that's 100% what it was. They just did it badly again. Well, my wife is begging me to bail out of this, guys. So.
Oh yeah, and it's. I think it's time for all of us to get going. So I'll just say, thank you so much, Joe, for coming on the show. We really appreciate it. It's been a blast. It's been a longer stream than we normally do, but it's been worth it. I appreciate so much you coming on the show. Aaron, what do you got?
I'm right here.
What Aaron's got is a bad internet connection. Ooh, man.
Yeah, it's been glitching on me for a little bit now. So
I feel your pain.
I'm just like, what's going on?
Yeah. So I guess thanks guys for joining us on the stream today. If you make sure you guys subscribe to these guys, to the Handy Outdoor Nerd and 3D Printing Professor if you're not already. And next week we will be streaming again, same time, 10 p.m. Pacific time on Aaron's channel. And hope to see you guys there.
Yep. Yeah. So, thank you everybody for joining, and we'll catch you later. Y'all take care.
Remember, safety first, because I care about you.
Absolutely.
Don't forget to spay and neuter your animals.
We'll see you guys later.